Okay, so if you remember, we were here and we had plotted some, bar plots. Okay, using ggplot, that is the package which we had used. We had created some variables, data frame variables. I'll just drag this down a bit. Okay, so we had df, we had df.raw, raw1 and raw2. Those were the three, initial data frames which we, accessed the file. And I showed you the three different ways of accessing the file and importing the data. Okay. And then we converted this data, and this, you can see there are 7 variables here, and we dropped some, the NA values and so on. I'll just show you that structure. I need to close this one. Yeah. So this is the data which we have. Okay, so we had some extra columns, that is the total average, and the average difference is also there. Okay, and using this data, we had plotted this bar chart. If you want, you can just zoom this out. Okay, it will look like this. So this gives you a better picture. Okay, so that's my mean value which we had calculated. Okay, and the country and the ranking of the countries by the science score. Okay, this is your type of legend, depending on the color combination, darker the color and so on. So here you can see it's starting from light and ending up in the dark here. Okay, and it is already sorted because we had used reorder option, the function which we had used in the. So let me close this one. Okay, if you want, we can just revisit this. Now this was the code which we had executed. Okay, the data frame we are using data equal to df. Then here is the reorder level. Okay, not the level, sorry, reorder function, so that we can adjust it as per the order. And there's the reason the highest value is coming on the top. Okay, which is having highest score for science. Okay, and these were the other functions. This is how we, designed our bar chart. Okay, and we have flipped it. We also flipped the coordinates. So this is the function to flip the coordinates. Okay, initially it was like a bar chart, which was, country was here down and the scores were here, and because it was not fitting in that x-axis, on the x-axis, we just flipped it. Okay, the problem was on this line here. So here, now before we go and look into this pivot longer, I'll just go to the help and explain you what it actually does. Now pivot longer would help us to, combine all the columns together. So we are going to combine this column. So column number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We'll be combining this together and under the head score. Okay. So to just give you the detailed information about pivot longer, here it is now. Okay, last time we were not getting the function here because of the package, which was not the latest package. And even in your case, if suppose you have loaded R, because I had loaded R, long time back, it was not the updated version, and I had to update the version as well. Okay, so pivot longer, this is the function which we'll be using. Okay, so here it says, pivot longer lengthens data, increasing the number of rows and decreasing the number of columns. So we are reducing the columns, we're combining all this. Okay, the parameter, there's a huge list of parameter here, but we are not concerned about that right now. We'll be using data, which I want to be, referring to. Now this data is coming as a parameter through the filter. So here we are using the infix operator. Okay, so this will be passed as a parameter. So one of the parameters to this pivot longer. So the first parameter for this pivot longer will be df. If you let us say you don't want to make use of this infix operator. So what is the way around? What we can do is we can just copy this out. I can take this, okay, like this, Control X. Let me remove all this. Okay, and I'll use pivot longer. And here I will pass that as a parameter. Okay, so this is same as, the previous function, where we were using the infix operator. So here the data which we are passing will be this one. Okay. Then comes my the columns which I want to combine, and then we have this name to score, so that a new column with the name to will score will be created, and it'll have all this combination. Okay, so this can be one way of doing it. Okay, but if suppose you are not comfortable with using the the infix operator or the pipe you can say operator, please make use of this option here. So you have an option of doing it. So don't get confused about why we are using that pipe and so on. I'll stick to that particular notation. Okay, so let me do Control Z. Okay, so that I come back to the original one. So this is what I have right now. Okay, let us run this one. I'll press Control Enter. Now there's no error. Okay, I have not changed anything, as you can see. Okay, the version also, if you want to know which version you need to have, you can go to the package here. Okay, and let us search. It was on tidy R, this one. Okay, the previous version was 0 point something. Okay, and as soon as I uninstalled Tidyverse and reinstalled it, I got this 1.13. Okay, this got installed. Because I think it's a part of this package and not the older package. Clear? So let me come back to let us come back to the plot. Now let us look at the DF2 now, what it has. So this is what I'll get now. Now you can see this, there's a name, country name we have, and this is what it has created, score. Okay, it has created this score, and it has combined all this together. And their values are put in this column here. Value column is already there. Let us look at the other values also. Now these were the values, right? These were the values. Okay. So this has been now converted, and we have got another data frame which we can use now, because I said when we go for the bar plot, okay, or sorry, the box plot. Okay, we need only two variables here. So for the X and the Y. Okay, so to draw this, we are actually converting this. The reason behind converting this into a one single column, because we want to make use of the box plot. Okay, so let us go back. Okay, once we do this, let us go ahead and use the ggplot function to get the box plot. So I'll just press some lines here down and we'll start coding here. Okay, the function will be ggplot into round bracket. Now the first parameter would be always your data which I want to pass. So data equal to, now I'll be using df2. Okay, comma AES aesthetic mapping into round bracket, the score which I want on X. So X equal to score or scores, score, right? X equal to score, and on the Y axis, I say Y equal to, it was value. So value. Okay, let me check whether value was V capital or small. Okay, V is small, so no problem. Clear? Now, again, I need to mention the color as well. So I'll come here, comma. I want to color it as per the score, so I can give color equal to score. Okay. Plus, let us go down here. Now, I want to plot the box plot. So geom underscore box plot. Here it is. Okay, so it will help me plot the box plot. Here there's I won't be giving any parameter, so I'll keep this as it is, empty round brackets. And whatever designing I'm doing or format of the box plot I'm doing would be through some functions. Okay, so here I use ggplot to give the data and the x-axis, y-axis, the color combination. plus I'm telling that I have to put the box plot. Let us put a plus sign again. Now I want the color combination also that from a particular palette. So in there's a function called scale color brewer. Okay, let us take a help from here and check how it looks like and what other parameters. So we have this function scale underscore color brewer, this one. Okay, now it has different, you can say palettes, color palettes, which can be used here. Okay, so here if you see, it has some values here. You can see this one. Okay, the type, the palette, the direction, aesthetics, as color, and so on. There are many combinations. You can go through this, read all the arguments, the explanation given to you. Okay, so when you are using this function, please go through this details. Okay, now we have some qualitative values like dark 2, then ascent, pad, pistil 1, pistil 2, all this. Okay, so let us use one of them. Okay, let us use this dark 2. Okay, I'll come back. Let us plot this using the scale underscore color brewer. So it will provide me some sequential and diverging and qualitative colors. Okay, it's some color scheme. Okay, here I'm going to just give the name of the palette which I want to use. So I'll give palette equal to, and as I said, I'll be using dark 2. So let us use in double quotes, put dark 2. Okay, this is enough right now. We'll put a plus sign. The next thing I'm going to do is, because we are also going to put the points on the box plot. Now this points, if similar points are there, it will be either it can be stacked, or it can be overplotted, or we can make use of jitter. If you remember last time we had done jitter. Okay, and we had, I think we gave some value so that the positioning can be adjusted, and the value I think we tried 0.1 or 0.2 something. Okay, now in this example we are going to make use of geom jitter. Okay, geom jitter. In this first parameter is what type of a shape I want the point to be pasted as. Okay, like if again I come to this help here, and here I can give geom jitter. Okay, geom jitter. Okay, jittered points. Here you can see. Now we have an option called shape. Okay, if I want some shape, like there are different values. Okay, so in case of shape, where are the values gone? Okay, so I think they have not given the shapes, different types of shapes here. Okay, but if you remember last time we had used shape, the empty round brackets, and then we had the solid, we gave one as the shape, I think, last time, and then we changed it to a solid circle, a circle which is a filled circle, okay, which was around 16, I think. Okay, so I'll use both of them right now. I'll just give shape equal to 1 right now and see what it is. Like for example, last time we had that cross, then we had the star, and so on. So that shape will come from here. Okay, and for the position, I'll just write position equal to, and position jitter, we have to pass this value, position jitter, this one, and by how much value I want the points to be adjusted. 0.2 is what I'll be giving right now. Okay, put a plus sign. We continue further. Fine, that is all we have. Now let us go for the labels. We have to set the labels for the chart as well, because the x-axis, the title has to be given. Now for this, I'll be using the function labs, okay, into round bracket. The first one I'll give the title, so title equal to. Now in this case, in this example, let us do one thing. Because we are plotting the scores, I want to find out whether the males are performing better than the females. So I'll give the title as, let us say a question: did males perform better than females? And that's a question mark for me. Okay, I have given a question mark. Then comes the label which I want on the y-axis. So I want y. Now what are we putting on y? Why we are putting the values? Okay, so this will be, let us see, y equal to scores. Okay, and on the x, let me put some test name or something. So we have the test type. Test type. Okay, or type of test, whichever you feel is. Now this is going here down, so I'll just put this down. Okay, so this completes. Anything left? Title has been given, the color option is given, the value has been passed. Okay, fine. Now I think this much is enough, and let us run this one. I hope the round brackets are properly given. Fine. So I'll come to the plots again here, and let's run this one. Okay, so here we can see, I'll just zoom this out. Okay, this looks okay. So here you can see these are the points which were plotted. Okay, because of this geom jitter, it got the shape. The shape you can see it's a circle, a small circle, because this shape I have given one, and it is not stacking over each other, or neither it is over plotted. It is scattered. Okay, it is scattered by some value here. You can see using jitter function. Okay, and below this you can see we have the different types of test: maths.f, maths.m, reading f, reading m, science f, and science m. Okay, so here we can just do a comparison, but this needs to be analyzed. We have to. It doesn't look that good because it is giving me the points. Your geom jitter allows you to just plot the data points. So it is helping me. It is also helping me understand how many are above this. This line is nothing but the median. This is your quartile 1, quartile 2. Okay, this is your whisker. Last time I told you, okay, if you want to learn more about the box plot, please refer to, because there are many things into box plot. You can understand it much better. They will also explain you what are the formulas which are used to do the calculation. Okay, so right now for our understanding, we'll consider this median here. And if you look at the math score, you can see the males are performing a bit better. When it comes to reading, the females are performing far better than the males. Okay, because you can see this median down below here. Okay, whereas this is far above. And then when it comes to science, again, males are performing better, but it's not to that extent. It's slight difference. Okay, so, but this is giving me some overall picture. It's not giving me in-depth, insights into this data. Okay, so what we are going to do is, first of all, if I want, I can also make the option. We can, instead of having this box plot, empty ones and having only the colors of the boxes different, we can have a color combination, and we can have one color, which so I can fill this with color as well, this boxes. We'll see that how to do it. And secondly, this looks a bit messy. If you look at the whole design, it is not giving me a better representation. So later on, what we'll do is we'll group it as per the subject, or might be first we'll try to group it gender wise. Okay, and we'll check the performance. Okay, so let us do some more, try to find out more important things in this. So I'll just close this one. I'll come back. Okay, if I want, instead of, getting this color as score, I can also fill it with the score. Okay, so the color will remain. So let me just copy this whole thing and just change one small thing. I'll come here. Okay, what I'll do is I'll change this color equal to score to fill equal to score. Okay, I can do this. Fill equal to score. The rest of the thing remains as it is. Okay. And for the palette also, instead of dark 2, let us use one particular color here. So I think let us use green. Okay, so I've used green. The rest of the thing remains same. Okay, and now if I run this one, okay, here you can see now I have got this new, you can say, design altogether. Okay, and instead of now, because this is multiple colors here, if I want only one type of a color, now instead of using the palette, the function scale color brewer, I'll be using the fill option. So instead of this function here, let me change this as well. Let us use the fill option, scale underscore fill underscore brewer, and the palette name as green. Okay, so now I run this. Okay, and you can see this is it is using one color. It is moving from one lighter shade of green and it's going up to the darker one. Okay, so you can, depends on your requirement how you want to present the data. If you're happy with the different types of colors, you can use that. If you want one particular color, if you want a gradient colors and also, you can do that. Okay, but as you can see, this does not help me understand the data in depth. So I'll make some changes again. Let's go ahead. Okay, so because this was a bit messy now, let us put, if I would like to, visualize my data with separate subjects and the gender, and plot them, side by side, that would look better according to me. So for that, I need to make some changes again to my data set. Okay, since we want to separate the subjects and the gender from the column containing this name, if you look at this data set here, okay, it has the name of the subject and the gender here only in the score column. Okay, if I want to separate this two, okay, I want to create from this column, I want to create two different columns. One column will have the name of the subject and the other column will have the gender. Okay, if I want to do that, let us make some changes. Only then I'll be able to group it, So I'll come back here. Okay, and for this I need to create, I'll using a for loop here. Okay, I'll split the string because it's a string value. So the function which I'll be using here is str split. Okay, which will help me split this values. Okay, based on a separator. Now the separator here is a dot. Okay, so there's a dot between the name of the subject and the gender. So I'll use that dot to indicate from where I want to split the string. Okay, and I'll move all the values. Say gender, I'll move in one of the list or vector. Let us use a vector. Okay, and the other one, the subject, I'll put it in the other one. Okay, and later on we can combine this together. Now for doing that, first of all, let us create an empty vector for this and check how many values we need. First of all, let us do this. So I'll use S equal to, and because I need to have a numeric values for this, so I'll use numeric. Okay, into bracket. Now, how many values do I want? Now, this is coming from DF2, so I'll require 408 observations. So the size here I can give 408. Okay, so this is to just create an empty vector. Okay, I'll just put a comment here so that you can. This is an empty vector. Okay, with size 408. Okay, that is the vector. So I'll just run this one. Okay, you can see this numeric value and all the values are 0 right now. Fine. Now in this, what I'll do is I'll use a for loop. Let us use a for loop. For into round bracket I in. Now I have to move from 1 up to this 408. So either you can directly give 408 because you know this, but let us say later on, if you're writing a very dynamic program where the size is not known to you, the better way is to make use of the length function. Okay, so we can give the length function here, length, length. Okay, and in the round bracket, I want to find the length of the scores which is there in DF2. This one, I want the length of this, right? So I want to move from the first record to the last record in my DF2. Okay, so this will be DF2, the $ and score. Okay, it will look like this. Then let us start with this curly bracket. So this is my for block, the for loop. We have done this before. So S, the index position I, now equal to, now I'll be splitting this. So I'll use str split. Yeah, str split. I want to split which value? I want to split DF2 $score. Okay. And I want to split depending on the index, whether it's the first record, second record, third one, that will come from the value of I. Okay. What is the second parameter? I want to know which is the separator here. So I'll put a dot. Fine. And there's one more option. It has to be fixed. So I'll give fixed equal to true. Okay, fixed equal to true, because it is going to, exactly find if there is a dot, only then it's going to do this part for me. Okay, that's all I require so that we can separate this. And when I run this now, what will happen is S would be now a list of 408 components. Okay, and each of which will have two components in it, two subcomponents. One would be the subject and the other one would be gender. Okay, so we'll have two columns in there. So let us run and check it out whether it works properly. Just 1 minute, guys. Yeah. First of all, S is already created. Let's run this one. Okay, so here you can see now S has become list of 408. If I click on this, here you can see I've got this all values, and here you can see there are two characters here. So maths and F, two different ones. Okay, so based on that dot, it searches for the dot and it splits the string into two. Now this I have to go ahead, okay, and I have to pass this and create a new data, because we want to create a new data frame where I'll be combining all this together. So I need to unlist this. Okay, so I'll come back. Fine. So the next is to for each of this you can take your two sub components, your subject and gender. We would like to transform this into a data frame. Okay. So first of all, because we have a list, we have to unlist this. Okay, and create two columns first. Okay, and move all these values into that particular columns. And if I need rows and columns, either I can go for a array or I can go for a matrix. Okay, because from the list I want to move the values into 2-dimension, and 2-dimension usually is a matrix. So I'll prefer using a matrix. So what I'll do is I'll write df3, that is my data frame, equal to, either I can use the arrow or you can use equal to if you want. The list is S. Okay, this I'll pass it to as a parameter to my unlist function. Okay, so unlist. So it is either it's going to convert this. After unlisting it, I want to pass this further to create. So this will be acting as a data to the matrix function. So we have this matrix function. If you remember, we use the matrix function to create a matrix. Round bracket, we pass the data. So that data is coming from this one, because this is getting piped and it's coming here. Okay, without pipe also, I'll show you how to do this. I want two columns, so n call equal to 2. Okay, and I want to get this data filled in the matrix row wise and not column wise. By default, it will be column wise. Please remember. So I need to give by row equal to true here. So by row equal to true. Complete this round bracket over. So a matrix is created first. Okay, so this matrix now has to be now further converted into a data frame. Okay, so the data frame usually see matrix is also you can say rows and columns. Your data frames are also rows and columns. Okay, but there are some different functionalities which are used in data frame compared to your matrix. So this will be now converted. So I need to pass this again using the infix operator, and I'll use as dot this simple function as dot data frame. Now this will help me convert this whole you can say the vector which we had created, which had to the list of 408 values or components, each of them having sub-components of the name of the subject and the gender, that I converted into 2 columns. Okay, and each of them were filled separately, and I execute this. Now I'm not going to execute this. I'll just show you the alternate way of doing this. Okay, I could have written df3 equal to like this, as dot data dot frame. Now inside this round bracket, the first parameter would have been the list here, but because this is a list here, I need to pass a matrix. So first I'll create a matrix inside. So this becomes matrix here. Okay, the data comes from S. So it has to be unlisted first. So I'll give unlist into bracket S. Okay, that becomes my first parameter in the matrix function, round bracket, comma. Okay, then give your n call equal to 2, then by row equal to true. Okay, so this completes my matrix function. This is your round bracket function. Okay, so this whole function, which is written on, or the statement which is written on line number 76, can also be written like this, which I wrote just now on line number 78. Okay, and if you look at this whole thing, it does contain everything. So it contains it. You have to just go in the reverse order. Okay, this becomes my main function. I start with this. To this, there's a parameter matrix. So we have inside this matrix function. To the matrix function, I need unlist. So I have this unlist. To unlist, there's a parameter S. So I passed S here. Okay, the rest of the 2 parameters, that is n call or the column equal to 2 and by row equal to true, remains the same. So both this function is going to work the same way. Okay, so either you make use of this. If you're very comfortable using this, you do go ahead, or you can use this. It's up to you. I'll comment this one. Okay, and I'll run this one. Okay, something happens and I get here. You can see now I'm getting a 408 observation of 2 variables. So here we can see this. Now we got V1, V2. The subjects are coming here. The genders are coming here. Okay. Now once we get this, let us go ahead and we need to combine this D3 and with D4. We'll combine this because I want to replace this column. Now score will be removed, and instead of that, I'll have subject and I'll have the scores, sorry, the gender. Okay, so we need some, you can say this 2 columns to be added here. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll create another data frame. Okay, so let us name this as df4. Okay, so df4 is equal to cbind is the function. If you remember column binding, if I want to bind 2 data frames, I can make use of this cbind, and I have to bind df2 and df3. Simple. I'll run this one. Let us see df4 now. Okay, now here you can see now I have the subject name and I have their genders as well. Okay, now because we have added this 2, I do not require this score now because it is redundant, right? It is repeating things. Okay, so I need to drop this. I want to remove this one. To remove this, I can just assign null to it. Okay, But before that, I'll also change the name of the columns because the column names are not that good. Score, value, V1, V2. I don't want this. Let us give proper names to this. To give a proper name, I can make use of column names. Okay, so I'll just do it quickly. DF4 equal to C into bracket. The first one is country. Okay, the second one is the score. The third one was the value. Fourth one was the type of test. So I'll just give test and the gender. Okay, now I'll run this one. Let us come back to D4. And now it is changed. You can see this test and gender. Fine. Next, I want to remove score. I don't want it because it is redundant. It has been already repeated and we have converted that into test and gender, two different columns. Okay, so I'll do DF4 $score equal to null. The null value is in caps. Okay, so if I run this one, okay, I pressed Control Enter, come back to DF4, and here you can see now that score column has been dropped from my observations from my data frames. Okay, now this looks good. Okay, and it looks clean also as per the requirement. Okay, so now we can create multiple plots with using, there's an option in the function ggplot. Okay, we have a function called facet wrap. Okay, facet wrap is there, which will help me, create multiple plots. So let us do that now. I'll come back here. I'll just copy that function which we had. Let me copy this whole thing.